So no amount of good behavior will solve the problem. Verse 26, the servant therefore fell down and knelt before him, saying, have patience with me, and I will repay you all. The Lord of that servant, being moved with compassion, released him and forgave him the debt. First of all, Jesus shows us what our response ought to be when we see the debt. Right? This guy falls on his face before God, the King. Now the problem is that in these two verses, Jesus is telling us that there are two plans of forgiveness. There are two plans of getting rid of the debt. What are they?
Asking.
There's the payment plan, I will pay it back, right? And then there's the completely forgiven plan. So I want you to get this. This is important. Because we pick a plan, just like this guy did. There's only two options. So how do we know which plan he adopted? He did adopt a plan. There's only two plans, and he adopted a plan. Which one did he adopt? Jesus goes on, verse 28. But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii. Somebody told me this morning is probably a couple $1,000s, but for our purpose it could be a nickel, right? When you're trying to pay back $40 million, does it matter whether it's $2,000 or a nickel? Doesn't matter, okay? The fact of the matter is what this guy owed him was a nickel compared to the $40 million that he owed to the king. Okay? So which plan did he adopt? Yeah, how do you know it was the pay it back plan?
Maybe this.
Yeah.
Going to collect from everybody that owes him.
When you owe $40 million, every nickel counts. Right? If I got to pay it back, by golly, you got to pay it back too. Are you feeling that? He's dealing with an overwhelming debt. So, what Jesus is saying here is the way we forgive others demonstrates which plan we've adopted. It demonstrates how we forgive others. That's the acid test. So verse 29, so his fellow servant fell down and begged him, saying, have patience with me and I will repay you all. Was that possible?
No.
You don't think so? Yeah, it was possible. If it's a couple $1,000s, he can pay back the debt. The kinds of stuff that we do to each other most of the time, can be paid back. But that's what Jesus is trying to show here, that when it comes to our debt to God and our debt to each other, there's no comparison. None whatsoever. Verse 31. Let's see. But he would not, and he cast him into prison until he should pay back that which was due. The very same thing that the king was going to do to him, and he asked for mercy, he now does to this guy. Okay? Now, when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were exceedingly sorry, and came and told to their Lord all that was done. Have you ever met a bitter person? Huh? Is it fun to be around? Do bitter people make you feel sorry? Are you looking for an exit? Yeah. You're sitting there talking to them and they're just unloading all their bitterness on you and you're saying, this really needs to go somewhere right now. Right? So they, just like us, they felt sorry.